welcome back. Today's video we're going to be talking about the Daikin mini split heat pump. That's what you have up there on the wall, that white box. And I guess kind of about how it's doing and what I like about it, what I don't like about it. And the reason we bought a mini split heat pump slash air conditioner is because we didn't have central air in the house. And I didn't see the efficiency in getting a standalone air conditioner unit when you can spend just a little bit more money. It's probably like $1,200. I know that in the overall scheme of things, that's not too bad over the lifespan of the unit, but like for about $1,200 more, you're getting an air conditioner and a heater together. So, I thought that was like a no-brainer situation. And it works better as an air conditioner than it does a heater. So the heating side of it works decently until about 5 degrees or below, then it really starts working hard. When it does get below zero, it's not that it doesn't produce any heat. It does produce heat all the time. It's just not as much heat and it's not as efficient. With these units, the warmer it is, the more efficient they are. In the summertime or in the fall, spring, you can be upwards of over 200% efficiency with the way that a heat pump works. So on a cost side of it, depending on how you're running it, it can be an advantage for you there. So that's something to think about when you're looking at a heat pump. It is not a standalone unit. Like I said, it starts to really work hard once it gets below 5 degrees. You do need another source of heat in the house. We have about a 1,200 square foot house. One of the other reasons why we chose a heat pump is that we have a standalone wood stove in the living room, and the mini split is about as close as you can get to the center of the house, so it helps keep that opposite side of the house warm when we're using the wood stove in the wintertime. The other part of it is that the good part is that when you're running anything that's electric, there is no point of use pollution. So your gas furnace, whatever you want to do, if you're heating with a conventional gas furnace of any type, you're going to have some sort of pollution that you're producing. You're not getting that with a mini split when you're using it on air conditioning or heat. So that's a good thing to consider if you're into that type of thing, with offsetting some of your emissions, I guess. One of the things with this heat pump that I don't like is that the thermostat is in a bad place on the indoor unit. They told me when they installed it that this remote was my thermostat, and it is not. I could put this in the freezer if I wanted to, and the mini split would work no different than if it was out here on the table. This is not the thermostat. In fact, I read in the book, I found it in the book, where it shows that this gray box on the unit, just gray this little square here is the thermostat. So you can see as the air comes out, kind of washes over that area, because you can deflect the inner louvers inside of it. You can kind of move them around, and it's coming out this way, so it kind of goes over that area. It makes it think that it's hotter than it is, and these will go up and down by themselves, the outside ones. You can get it so that the inside ones go up and down by themselves, but we did not get that option. Also over here we have this little box that helps for the wireless app that you get with your phone. And then you can see over here, as I showed you on the remote, it was set to 77. It is currently 70 degrees just around the corner from the mini split. The little number on the Nest thermostat being what the temperature is and the big number what it is set to for the furnace in the house. With that, sometimes, sorry, I'm just focusing the camera on everything here. With that, it is a good unit. It does what it's meant to do. It basically works as it is marketed. Some of the other things that I don't like about it is that if you're in, now we're in Wisconsin, and anybody that lives in Wisconsin knows that in the fall and in the spring, sometimes it's a day where you literally have heat on in the morning and air conditioning in the afternoon. That is the way it goes around here. So if you go backwards, if you go from air conditioning to heat, we have those days too. You'll have an abundance of moisture that comes into the house when you go from air conditioning to heat. Doesn't matter what setting you put it on. If you run the fan, there's a fan mode where it'll just circulate air. That doesn't dry it out. No matter what it is, you can't fix it. You're just going to have to live with that high moisture level for about an hour until it sucks it up and dries it out, when you switch from air conditioning to heat within the same day. It does have a dehumidification option on it, that will dehumidify a little bit more than what the air conditioning mode on it can do. So that works pretty good. And then I kind of did show you the remote a little bit. The only thing about the remote is that it is infrared and it has to be in line of sight to work, to communicate, which is no big deal. We have a kind of a small house, and you can see on here the clock. You can't change that out of military time. So once you get into PM, it's always going to be reading in military time. And on the remote is the only device that you can make it do the powerful mode on. And what that does is it gives it as much power as it can produce for 20 minutes. So say you want to really cool down the room, or you really want to heat up the room, or wherever you have it, that's the setting that you would use. And they do have a couple other settings on here, as you can see: quiet, sleep, eco, and those all have their perspective situations, and they're pretty self-explanatory. I mentioned that there is the box on the wall, and you can get the app for it. So like right now, the app is showing it at, if you can see it, 79 in the house, but the unit is set to 77. So that's one of my biggest complaints with the unit. And then if you click on it, it gives you your options to go to, and pretty much everything you can do on the app, you can do on the remote. Like I said, the remote, you're going to get that spot where you can hit that powerful mode and get a little bit more out of it. So really, other than that, like I said, it works really well. Great air conditioner. Not as good of a heater as it is an air conditioner, but I will tell you that most of the heating this year has been with the mini split in our home, and it is the 12th of February. So quite a bit of the heating season has already been taken care of, what has been handled by the mini split. Because actually, once you figure out the temperature difference with what it thinks it is and what it really is, once you figure that out, the furnace really doesn't kick in at all. And it's not a situation of it's really super cold in other parts of the house versus where it is. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit warmer where it is, and hot does go to cold. That's that transfer of energy. That's kind of how that works. If you're in the total opposite end of the house, it is a little bit cooler or a little bit warmer. If you're talking about in the summertime, some of that can be compensated by running the fan on your furnace, or whether you want that or not. You know, it's not, what I'm trying to say is it's not a dramatic difference throughout the house. And like I said, we have a 1,200 square foot house. It's not a real big house. You can get these units where they have multiple inside units, like what we showed you on the wall there. So you can have them, you know, I think you can have some with up to 5. This particular unit, which is the, you can see it here, FTX24AXVJU is the exact model number. This particular unit, you cannot have a secondary inside unit with that. And that's okay, because that works for us in our situation. We have a single level home, and it's pretty open actually. So that works well. One of the other things, as I bring you back over to the unit itself, is I can show you, you lift up this cover here and you got 2 filters in there to clean those, to clean out. You vacuum those out, you know, take them out, they pop out. And then up here, there is, here, I'll pop one of these out. And I was looking for a specific, well, thing on here. Well, anyway, you just pull the filters out and you start vacuuming off, and oh, there it is. On the inside of the filter, this little unit, this screen, this extra screen there, is for trapping odor for any things that might be floating around in your house. So that helps out a little bit. You can see the open top here. This is where where it sucks in the air. So you want to have some space in between your ceiling and the top of the unit for it to work efficiently. And this is kind of the normal setting that it's running on with the fan speed. It does get louder than that. I can try and put it on powerful mode here for you, and we'll see if it ramps up a little bit. So there it goes. It increased the fan speed a little bit, and it's going to increase its heating. So that's about as loud as it'll ever get. Every once in a while it does make some noises to it. I wasn't able to get that on film. I think it's kind of as it's pressurizing and depressurizing. I don't know the exact ins and outs of the mechanics on it, of why it makes some of the different noises other than what you hear now. But when it does do that, it doesn't last for very long. So that's pretty much the review on the Daikin mini split. Like I said, it's 24,000 BTUs, and it's, you know, overall it's been working great for us. And there you have it. Thanks for watching. All right, and look at that. Just like that, I'm back. I just wanted to shoot in there that with a mini split, that they do run continuously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as long as they are on, and that is by design. So the thought behind that is that it will not, once it basically gets your house to the right temperature, it will continuously be blowing out hot air or cool air, depending on whether you're on heating or air conditioning. So that way you don't have a temperature difference where you have, like with a conventional furnace, where it'll drop down maybe 1-2 degrees and then it'll come up above your set temperature. Okay, so here is the outside unit of the mini split. It is listed as a 24,000 BTU unit, and you can hear it making a little bit of noise right now. It's not running super fast. It is fairly quiet outside when it is running at full speed. And you can see on the tape measure here, it is about 3 feet long by, 14 inches there. So 2 feet by 14, inches. I do have it on these brackets so that it is off the ground. From the research that I did, it shows that if you have it off the ground and have more airflow around the unit, it runs more efficiently. So that's kind of the reason behind that. If you come around here, there's one thing that you have to do in the summertime is you kind of got to vacuum all this stuff that gets sucked into it out of the unit itself, and you have to do that a couple times a summer. Obviously in the winter nothing's really growing, so that part of it isn't an issue in the winter time. But that is your outside look at the Daikin mini split. And the other thing that I should mention here is the way that you have to have this set up on your house, and this is all the tubing that goes from the outside unit to the inside unit, and a return drip line that also runs down here for the air conditioning and dehumidifying. That's one thing to take into account when you install one of these things, is that you'll have that on the outside of your house, as well as we have this on and off breaker switch out here. And the reason for this is that way, in case you need service on the unit, you don't have to worry about the outside part of it, you don't have to worry about somebody having to come into the house. The person working on it can shut the power off right here outside, and you know, they're good to go. That is required by code, at least in the area where I live in Wisconsin. And that pretty much wraps it up for the Daikin mini split, and thanks for watching.